Hey, it's Cody. Today I come to you with a deck review. Well, what was going to just be a straight up favorable leaning deck review, within the last 24 hours has sort of morphed into maybe a wider conversation. I will say that it is rare that something occurs that changes a review for me, like the day before I get a chance to film it. Like, review eve, kind of. um, so I'll go through the deck. I've gone back and forth here on how I want to address this. Um just because I don't want to seem unfair. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to give the deck the review that I was originally going to give it. But then I also want to talk about some comments and posts by the creator after she watched a previous video of mine. Um and just it would feel unfair to me, to people who might be considering buying this deck. Like, if I were about to buy an indie deck from somebody, I would want to know if they were like doing this stuff. So okay, all right. The deck, this is like the title card of it. This is the Tarot of Aphrodite by, I believe it's Natasha Fromm. All right, so we've got a hardcover box, and here it says, Aphrodite, goddess of divine love, with you our hearts and souls entwine. May your blessings be upon us all as we answer to love's eternal call. Okay, now, if you think that does not sound like me shit, you're right. I sort of mentioned previously that I have been working with Aphrodite. I had a whole video on it, in which I did show this deck some. And basically just that I had struggled in discovering what aspect it was of Aphrodite that was showing up to me. And that for a while after she had sort of arrived in Greece, she retained war-like aspects. And so basically the point of my struggling to work with Aphrodite video and decks I had been trying to use to communicate with her, the point of that video was kind of talking about like my own struggle with that and what wasn't working. The main takeaway was really supposed to be more, don't automatically discount something just because you think that like it doesn't look like what everybody else is doing. So yeah, this was a deck mentioned in that video. So when I purchased this deck, I was fully aware that this was going to be a side of Aphrodite that's not what I was working with. It just wasn't. But I was drawn to the fact that it was called the Tarot of Aphrodite. I felt like I would regret if I hadn't gotten it. I do like some of the artwork that's, used in this deck. This is obviously a curated artwork deck. Yeah. So I have actually, I was currently up until yesterday using this deck for my Aphrodite work. Daily draws and things. I post it on Instagram and things. I think I will actually be putting it away now, though. All right. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Here we have the Birth. Now, we do have some renamed majors. I think that's fine for the Fool. Here's the Magician. Oh my god. There's nudity in this deck. Surprise. Okay. I will say, I do not like these backs. I wish that it didn't have that. Like, I feel like it would be fine if it was just the pink. All right. We have the Seer as High Priestess. Aphrodite as the Empress. Ares as the Emperor. I deeply hate this artwork on this card. Here's the Hierophant. The Lovers. The Chariot. Now, this is the second edition, I will say. I know that several cards have been changed between the first and second editions. Strength. The Hermit. Now, as you can see, these aren't all necessarily depictions of Aphrodite. They're just kind of perhaps other, Greek art and some not even Greek art. Here's the Fates as the Wheel of Fortune, which I like. Justice. Stillness for the Hanged Man. Death. Temperance. The Devil. You see that? I don't know. The Tower. Yeah. The Star. The Moon. The Sun. Okay, no, I want to talk about this really quick. I have limited myself on buying decks that are made with curated artwork of like this style. I don't know like what it's called. Romantic period or something. I don't know. Is that music? I think. I know it's a music period. I don't know if it's art. Okay. This, all right. The Tarot of Aphrodite, its first edition came out in March of 2023, and I don't exactly know when this second edition came out. I have a card here from Madame Lydia Wilhelmina's some an Autumn Scenes, what that big ass long name. Now it is also it's got like curated art-ish because it's photoshopped with a bunch of other things. Now this deck, I've had this deck for years. I work with Madame Lydia's a lot. And so I have worried previously about getting decks like this because I was afraid that my brain would associate a piece of art with a specific card, but then it would be a different one in a different deck. Of course, I have 2 of these decks like this, and it's already happened. This art was made Queen of Wands in Madame Lydia's, but the Sun in the Tarot of Aphrodite. I mean, I know there's only so many of these, public domain art that would work for tarot out there. But it's fucked me up because every time I look at this, my brain automatically says Queen of Wands. So, I mean, that is a me problem, but it is something, I don't know. I just want to talk about that. Okay. Here is Judgment. The World. There's Ace of Cups. 2 of Cups. 3 of Cups. 4 of Cups. 5 of Cups. 6 of Cups. 7. 8. 9. 10. Now we've got princesses as pages, priestesses as knights, and then queens and kings. Okay, this one card sticks out to me because it's like I don't think it's the image quality. I did try to look this painting up. It does say in the guidebook, what each painting actually is, who painted it. You know what I mean? So you can actually look it up. The only thing that I can find on this one is like one Google image that looks about like this. It's something about like the image quality. Like you look at the ones. Okay, well that one. Hold on. It's very like crisp and clean. But then this one's just like that. I don't know. This card sticks out to me. I don't like it. All right, there's King of Cups. I think, I could be wrong, but I think the Ace of Swords is another card that was changed from the first to second edition, which I have drawn 3 times in the last like 2 days. So that's I suspect it was telling me something. I love this artwork. I wish this was me. So I guess while I'm flipping through these cards, yeah. So, I will say I was surprised by the cardstock in this deck. Normally, I end up getting indie decks that I cannot riffle shuffle. Too thick of cardstock, or just too big overall. Like, this is a pretty, I think, standard-sized tarot deck. There is gilding. I don't know if you saw that. It's looking weird in this light on the camera here. It's actually a light pink. I don't know why it's looking like that, but it is. And these, I actually can riffle shuffle these. So yeah, I have actually enjoyed that part of this deck. The cards don't stick. They're not shiny. They're nice and matte. The guidebook is, it sort of attempts to explain things like happening within the artwork. and how it would relate to the card that it was chosen to depict. I thought that was pretty good job was done with that too. Sorry, I'm just like looking at these. Why do I feel like this artwork is so familiar? Was it another card like with a different like color cast to it or something? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making that up. I will say I have had trouble if I draw, like, if I'm doing a reading and I pull a priestess, like, this one's on a horse, but the other ones are not, and I'm like, what the fuck is this one? So then I gotta bust out the guidebook and look. But, I mean, it's entirely possible that is a me problem only, so... I don't know why I don't like this art either. Okay, this art also bothers me. It looks like some, like, comic book shit all of a sudden in the middle of, like, these beautiful paintings. I don't know. Weird. Okay, so, those were the cards. All right, now... we gotta talk about creator behavior as they, you know, run wild through social media. Now I will say that the creator of this deck is, English is not her first language. I did look on, the Kickstarter campaign that this deck had is, like, still up. And it said that her location is Berlin, Germany. So I feel like there might have been some sort of element of, like, miscommunication. It's possible that this was a misunderstanding to begin with. So on my last video, which you can actually go and look at the comment underneath it, the video was really not about this deck. This was a deck that was one of like 5 or 6 that I was showing that I had been trying to use to work with Aphrodite. The point, once again, of that video was for me to talk about how I had a sort of a lesser known and even sometimes downplayed aspect of Aphrodite appearing to me. So yeah, imagine my surprise when I woke up yesterday and there's a comment. Now, okay, I am going to go ahead and read this comment to you, just so we're all on the same page. All right. Quote, "Hi, creator and occultist here. What you're referring to is Ishtar, the ancient goddess of love and war. Aphrodite is a different and more lighter aspect of this goddess, so yes, the tarot of Aphrodite makes sense, just not in the Ishtar kind of way. I know both energies very well, and in occult circles it is known that these are separate energies, but people project their own spin on it. Still, thanks for showcasing my deck." Now, I am a person who sometimes has trouble, oh, that was end quote, by the way. I'm a person who sometimes has trouble knowing, like, how people mean things when they say them. Like, I'm talking even in person. But to just read that, I was like, is she mad? I couldn't tell. So I did show it to other people. Sometimes I have to use other people as, like, my interpreters. I'm like, is this, like, just supposed to be a helpful comment? Or is it, like, I don't really know. It sat weird. It felt weird. So, I did respond. I don't have, that available to read to you right now, but I was like, you know, this isn't a review. The intent of this video was not, you know, disparaging your deck. This was, simply showing decks that I had tried that sort of fit into the energy that other people seem to be working with when they're working with Aphrodite, but the point was that it wasn't working for me. I think the only bad thing I said about the deck was that I disliked the card backs, and also I have said that again in this video. Okay, so I was kind of confused by the comment, and then I went ahead and got on Instagram, and I saw that the account that is run by the creator of the Tarot of Aphrodite had posted some stories. I've been following her since I first saw this deck and decided that I wanted to get it, but she had followed me, I think a couple days ago, since I posted a photo of one of the cards from this deck. So I was like, all right, well, let's see what her story is. And it was a couple of vague postings that I am 99% sure were about my video still. And Instagram stories might only last for 24 hours, but screenshots are forever. So I've gone back and forth on whether I should read these out loud. I have them here. God, I almost wish I could ask you guys if you think I should or not. I don't want to, like, wreck this person, okay? And I will say that she has a current Kickstarter up, so I don't want to ruin that, okay? If you're into that, like, I don't want anyone, like, not ordering, like, I don't want to feel responsible for people being like, ew, I canceled my pledge or whatever, or something on account of me, okay? Because that's... Alright. Okay, I think that in the spirit of transparency, I think that I probably should go ahead and read these. Yeah, alright, there were two. These were, like, text posts. Sorry, this is where I have them written down. Don't look in that. Okay. The first one was mythology and clarification time. There are some smarties on the internet saying similar, like Doreen Virtue, I would water down Aphrodite like she did with the angels. Truth is, the badass Venus people refer to is named Ishtar, the goddess of love and war. I'm a magical practitioner, and I work first and foremost with Ishtar as for her fiery nature. I also have a lion tattoo. End quote. Okay, I don't want anyone in the comments saying anything about, like, wording of this, okay? We're not doing any of that shit. But there's no way that's about something besides this, considering that actually it was a couple minutes, like, these were posted a couple minutes after the comment on my YouTube video. And the Doreen Virtue thing threw me kind of, because in my Aphrodite, like, deck video, I did not mention anything about Doreen Virtue. But in the video that I posted directly before that was my occult tea one, in which I did talk shit about Doreen Virtue. People in the comments talked about her watering down witchcraft. So I'm not really... Okay, let's do the second one. Okay, the second story was, quote, Ishtar and Aphrodite are both different aspects of the goddess Venus. Aphrodite is, yes, more serene and girly. Ishtar is the fiery and aggressive aspect. So no, I do not water down anything. As a magical practitioner, I do know the differences in the energy and the mythology/symbolism behind it. So please, before accusing me, perhaps the goddess Ishtar is calling you. That is a common phenomenon when calling Aphrodite. Sometimes the aspect that is right for you will show itself. Winking face emoji, but like the old school one that's a colon and a, like, a single parenthesis. Okay, I don't want to get into a lot of stuff here. But, like, this one is how I knew 100% that this was about the video that I had posted. Okay. I would like to see sources for that. Alright. I want to be clear. Aphrodite's warlike aspect, it's not often talked about now, but I mean, it's well documented. We're not talking personal gnosis, this is not my own spin on anything. This is legitimately, like, archaeological evidence, and, like, there's a statue of Aphrodite out there with a spear and armor. Like, it's not... I think it would be convenient if, you know, deities' energies were neatly put in little boxes, for one to be the love and light shit and the other one to be, like, the war and other shit. You know what I mean? But that, it's historically, literally, it's just not true. The comments aside, okay, the main thing that has put me off this deck now is that I feel like Aphrodite has been poorly researched. I feel that it feels weird. People making decks, and this is not the first, okay, there's another deck that's specifically aimed at Aphrodite. I feel like someone who is you know, working pretty seems specifically with Aphrodite should be aware of these aspects. Um, I know that people have had definitely worse interactions like this. I don't know if this was necessarily a bad interaction, but it has left a bad taste in my mouth. I don't like it. And again, like I said, it's made this deck feel like cheapened somehow in my head. Like, and I'm sad to be putting this out there like this. It's just the timing was just right, man, on review eve for this to be the thing that was happening yesterday. It was maybe that's why I kept drawing the Ace of Swords from it, man. I don't know, but it's given the vibes. One time I saw this like graphic on Pinterest. And it said something about, it was like information about Aphrodite, and one of the things said that her nature was sweet. Tell me you have not read any of the myths involving Aphrodite without telling me you've never read any of the myths about Aphrodite. She is vengeful and jealous, and like sweet is not, that's not it. And it's making me feel like that, man. I I don't really know how it's possible there were miscommunications here. And in the first YouTube comment that I got, I again wasn't sure if she was upset. It seems like the deck creator is certainly upset. I'm actually not really sure about what. Yeah, it feels like a mess now. What was literally just going to be a simple review of this deck has gotten weird. Yeah. I always try to, I think it's important that if you've had encounters with the deck creator, and they were good or bad, mention them. Prism and Floor is a perfect example of every time I talk about any of their decks, I have gotten fantastic customer service from them. I had a deck shipped from Australia, where they are, and it was a round deck, so when it showed up, it was in like a square box, and it had this like foam around it with a circle cut out for it. Well, some glue that like glued the foam down in the bottom of the box had like leaked out and gotten on the bottom couple of cards. So I, sent a message, and it was like fast delivered to me. I don't even know how much they paid to have the cards replaced. They threw some stickers in there, which is really more than I needed. But like everything about that interaction was perfect. I had a problem. The problem was solved. I have even had people, comment on reviews of their decks, even if they weren't that good. It's just one of those things that behavior to me personally does impact my work with the deck. Sometimes decks that are okay, I have one deck, I think it's called the Rhoda Tarot. I do not remember the name of the lady that made it. She did a bunch of occult artwork and things on Instagram, and she had sent me this deck for review, and it was fine. I was using it for hermetic titles for a while, and then a while back, I ran into her Instagram account, which she and I had not really talked in years, and found that she'd gotten like way Christian and Christ is King and all that stuff, and that made me feel like it was funny to use her deck, to keep being like, I don't know how to explain it. This deck does not like feel funny to me anymore. It feels weird and somewhat confusing, and also like somebody's mad at me, and I actually am not sure why. The whole thing is just, it's icky and I don't like it. So I did go ahead and I backed the Naked Truth Tarot by Mustafa. Now this is the same guy who did the Baroque Tarot. So I think it's supposed to be shipping in July or something. It said on the Kickstarter campaign page. So when that comes, I will definitely be replacing this with that. Yeah. So, sorry this video got weird and kind of went off the rails there, but I think it's an important thing to mention, you know, not even necessarily just customer service, but any interactions that you're having with the deck creator, because, like, if I watch this review, I personally, I'm not saying anything about you or, you know, anything like that, I personally would prefer to not, not purchase this. And, you know, I saw two used copies of this deck that people were trying to sell, and I almost got them, and I was like, no, you know, I think I'd like to give the creator the money for this, as I'm in a financial situation where I can do that right now. And, like, now I kind of feel weird about it. I don't know, man. Am I, like, I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Natasha, I'm sure you've watched this, so, you know. Hi. Thanks for watching, bye.